Welcome to Film Riot. Today we're taking a look at how to pull off the perfect oner by taking a look at Vincent LaForest's class on directing, which you can find on MZ. We have talked about MZ before. Their subscription service has all kinds of great educational stuff for filmmakers from directing and cinematography. And in this directing class with Vincent, one of the videos he has is breaking down how to pull off an effective oner by looking at a shot from Untouchables and one from Goodfellas, which Goodfellas arguably has one of the best oners ever filmed, but he breaks those shots down to see how and why they're working. And in that class, he goes into a lot more detail. It's about over 40 minutes long. We've condensed it here for you today, so definitely check that out. Link in the notes below. But I'm gonna shut up now so we can get into it with Vincent.
Logo. Now let's talk about one-shot wonders, kind of the holy grail of filmmaking, if you will. This is kind of what all of us aspire to, but few of us do well because they're actually quite complicated to pull off. And I'm gonna try and break down what makes an effective one-shot wonder versus a mediocre one. Here's some of my secrets kind of listed out. First of all, you'll hear from Larry McConkey a little bit down the line here on how he obsesses about always keeping the camera in motion, but finding a way to motivate that movement within the frame. You don't want to simply start panning or sliding or pushing in or pulling out randomly. You want to have somehow a way to have the action help you move the camera. Obviously, there should be no dead spots within your one-shot wonder. If there's a dead spot within any one of your takes, what do? You cut. Same thing with the one-shot wonder. Why keep it going otherwise? So there could be no dead spots. We're going to talk about how we can use actors in terms of blocking and extras to keep the one-shot wonder alive at all times. Obviously, it should be stylistically appropriate. Often it's when you have a multitude of scenes that are interconnected that you can find a way within one physical space or several physical spaces that would normally be cut into separate scenes, but you can extend it for a reason. And it should actually add to the value of your piece as opposed to detracting from it. We'll examine that as well. The timing and the ultimate length of the one shot are essential. Now we're going to look at some 5-minute long shots, or one shots. We're going to look at some, I think there's one or two 12-minute ones. The idea here is not to do the longest one-shot wonder. The longest one-shot wonder is Russian Ark. I'm not going to show it to you because it's the entirety of the film. Obviously there's other one-shots. In fact, a piece just came out on Vimeo about Spielberg and one-shot wonders. That's pretty interesting. And what he's well known for are 1 to 2 minute one-shot wonders. He very often cuts in coverage within it, a little cutaway that makes it more interesting. I think, personally, I find that the majority of one-shot wonders benefit from a cut at some point. At some point, you get to the point where you're saying, I'm just staying on this one-shot wonder because I can. At a certain point, you're going to ask yourself, why am I staying on this one shot? And if you do, you're gone. So keep it going, and the idea should be that you should be creating some sort of tension or some sort of voyeuristic feeling to the one shot to justify it. That's just more of a personal opinion. Here we go. Let's go and look at this one-shot wonder from The Untouchables. Let's watch it for a few minutes, and then we'll cut to a different view of this.
A subpoena was issued for Alphonse Capone by my office this morning for the crime of evading and conspiring to evade federal income tax.
What's the maximum Capone could get?
If convicted on all counts, Mr. Capone could have up to 28 years. For murder?
Notice this is the first scene. We cut out of that, but we're actually not cutting. We're leaving them, so they're actually leaving the frame themselves. And we cut to, without a cut, a second scene within the same frame. Go from a 3-shot down to a 2-shot. Then they round the corner. Let's analyze this from above. Here we go. This is the physical geography of the space. It took them 12 hours to rehearse this, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and they nailed it in about 4 takes, I believe, if I remember correctly. But think about it, 12 hours to rehearse this one-shot wonder. So it's definitely not necessarily economical to do it this way, right? This is more about transporting people throughout the scene. What's the idea behind it? Well, let's look at it first. Here's the path. If you look at the path of this scene, you can see it's a little crazy. And you might ask yourself, how in the world does a director get to this point? Well, let the actors motivate you. We start off on a one-shot of our mayor. Go ahead and we pull back slowly. And we're going to start to brush past all these foreground elements in the arc to show that he's surrounded by people, by the press again. Notice the flash, keep the frame alive. He quickly breaks off from this group. We're going to lead him out of the room. It's now going to a 2-shot of him and the photographer. They now wipe out of the frame, and we cut to again, I can't help but using the word cut, although it's not a cut, a 3-shot of these 3 characters. We're into a new scene here that now goes into standard coverage principles. We went from a 3-shot down to a 2-shot because those 2 are dialoguing. Now he's going to dialogue with the prisoner, and we're going to go back to that 2-shot. So the coverage principles we've been covering all day apply within the 1-shot. That's the key here. We're going to slow down every time there's dialogue. We're going to get closer to faces so we can appreciate the dialogue and the emotions. We're going to pull away to accentuate motion when there is not dialogue. They go in the elevator here. Notice the cop has his back to you the entire time. That's the same cop that shot Sean Connery earlier in the film. You realize that right there. Doors close on you. Pull away. Now you go back to her. Think of all of your actors and actresses as magnets, drawing the camera and continuing it along its path. We come back to our mayor surrounded by the gaggle of press. She pushes the mayor into the elevator door, and now we peel off of them. Scene number 3 or 4, depending on how you want to count it. Starts all over again, same photographer. And he and his wife had just had their baby. They're walking slowly and confidently around the hallway. We're going to go from a lead to a follow with a simple step back and a left pan. Notice how they're leaving the frame. We think the scene's coming to an end. And then this officer here says, he just went down the service elevator. As we slowly push in, get that reaction in the same way you do master coverage. And then we cut away for this. They hear the gunshots. They're far in the frame. They slowly reverse direction. We now go into a lead as they gain on us. And they're going to peel off, again, that same corner, go from a lead to a follow, back to the elevator. It's obviously not coming up. They're going to run down the stairs, and they're going to leave the frame. Scene number 5 now, with the police chief, who's walking in slightly bit of a fishy way as he closes the door behind him and looks out over onto the alley. What does he notice? One of his officers, and of course, the aftermath of this scene. And this is how business is done in Chicago. If you can't get them the right way, you get the police chief to do it for you. So as you look back and look through all this range of motion, you'll notice that at all times the camera is motivated by the dialogue and the action within the frame. Make sense? What point is there a dead spot here? Never. Doesn't justify the cut, so we keep going. Let's look at one of the most famous one-shot wonders in history. But hopefully you're going to notice something that none of you have ever noticed before. Remember how McConkey's talked about confusing a geography and keeping a shot going. We're going to look at this shot from Goodfellas. Again, McConkey, Burham, and Scorsese. And I want you to look at what's being done to confuse the audience. Most importantly, I want you to ask yourself, why did Scorsese do this? That should be your most important question. Don't care how they did it. I'm showing you how they did it. But I want you to ask yourselves, why? Notice these little marks over here, and notice the path that's going to start down here. It's going to show you the path of the Steadicam. Notice all of the crossing of camera. Right there, between them and the camera, we're crossing extras to keep it alive. McConkey's going to slide a little bit so it can do a nice little arc around here, keep them centered. Little things. We're going to have this little piece of action here where this guy hands them some money, happens behind her back. So we have different layers of information, what she sees, she experiences the scene, as well as what we see. Little exchange right there. Little meatball sub, I think. That guy's just standing there. There's a couple on the left and the back. Things are going on continuously to distract you from the fact they're walking through an environment. Notice. Look over here and you'll see that fire hose. We're going to come back to that in a second. That's the hint. Two cooks fighting, guy coming to break it up. There's a constant distraction going on here so that you don't pay attention to the fact that we're on a one-shot. You're experiencing the kitchen as they would. There's a chef over there looking over they never makes eye contact with. Look at back here. You see this basket coming in? Wipes right past the frame. Guess what just happened? Notice the path we're taking. Notice the fire hose. We've done a full circle. It makes absolutely no sense, but we did it. We kept the frame alive. Here we paused because he's going to the back door. Just gave the guy a little tip. This is the moment of truth, right? They came through the back, and all these suckers are waiting in line for their table. Boom. We leave them and are motivated by the table. So we change up the frame a little bit. We're no longer following them. We're following a table in. There's another cigar lady brushing the frame. This woman doesn't look too thrilled that she lost her front row seat. The activity is swift. Their seats are ready. A little bit of exchange of money. She sits down. He brushes frame. And off we go. These guys kiss the ring. Here comes the champagne. Who does the champagne come from? I wonder. Hey, look away, look away. Forget about it.
What do you do? What? What do you do?
I'm in construction.
I don't feel like you're in construction.
Oh, I'm a union delegate.
Boom. There's the joke. And we cut out of this right after this little wipe over here. Okay, most importantly, you should notice the path. They did a full circle. Makes absolutely zero sense, but no one cared. In this room here, who noticed that prior to today? Anybody? That's the point, though. This is one of the most watched one-shot wonders in history. But you never knew they went through a full circle until you broke it down. So Larry McConkie, Scorsese all had the last laugh, because they were able to distract you the entire time. It met all the rules that we talked about earlier. Okay? It was also stylistically appropriate. Why did Scorsese do this? That's the most important question. Anyone? Yep.
Gives you a sense of what she's feeling, disorienting.
How does he move through the space as well? How does he move through the space?
Briskly.
Smoothly, with authority, just like the Steadicam. Guess what? He has a new broad on his arm every other day, right? This is every day. Who here has been on a date with a mobster? We all have now. That's the point of that shot. Took us on a date, took us on a unique experience. It was voyeuristic. It was firsthand. It engulfed you, and you felt like it would be to go on a date with Ray Liotta's character. Make sense? So it worked. It added to the piece.
Domain.com is all your website needs, including .com and .net domain names, an intuitive website builder so you can start building your identity online. Of course, they're reliable and affordable and have all the tools that you need to build your website and start sharing your ideas with the world. And no domain extension is going to help you tell your story like a .com or .net domain name, but you can also brand yourself online by using one of their over 300 domain name extensions from .club to .space. And as always, they want to give you 15% off their already affordable prices when you get domain names, web hosting, and email. Just use the coupon code FilmRiot at domain.com's checkout. When you think domain names, think domain.com.
Logo.
So that's it, how to pull off an effective oner. Again, Vincent's class is over 6 hours long, tons of really great information there. So definitely check out a link in the notes below. MZ has a subscription service, so you can get a year subscription to have access to all of their classes, which they have all kinds of great stuff from cinematography to sound to color grading, even photography. So really great resource for filmmakers. So check that out below. But that's it, and I'll see you next time when he thinks I'm calling him a clown, but I'm definitely not calling him a clown. Things get weird and awkward, and now I'm concerned.